everybody. Looks like we're back. Real life, live. We're going to talk a little NFL, because, it's NFL. It's winding down almost, it's December, playoffs are getting ready to come, so talk about that a little bit. We're talking about the NFL, though, in St. Louis. Okay, so, and we're going to talk about some things that happened with the NFL as far as the teams in the St. Louis teams. Teams, yeah. Remember now, we didn't lose one NFL team or two. We lost three NFL teams. Oh, well, you forgot, huh? Well, I'm going to refresh some memories, I guess you would say. Okay, so let's start with the Cardinals. Big Wheel, St. Louis Cardinals. Okay, we're going to talk about all the teams we lost. We're going to talk about them here on Real Life Live. So, all right. So that's the St. Louis Cardinals. They came here. I think it was 46, 1946, something like that. And didn't win anything though. They were always kind of didn't go to the playoffs. Didn't never went to the Super Bowl. None of that. So, but they were an NFL team, so we had that that clout, that cachet. So one of the I think what 32 cities or 30 whatever that have an NFL team. We won them. All right, but a lot of stuff went down, as far as the Cardinals. They wanted the new stadium, the football Cardinals. All right, they wanted it, and but we had a mayor, Vincent Shamble. He was this guy. He was all about Vincent Shamble. Okay, so he hated Benville, and he had a bunch of cronies that didn't like Benville, the owner of the football team. And they thought he was a oaf, idiot, and there was one time where he gave shoes to the East St. Louis football team. That's the East St. Louis Flyers, a great team in Illinois that always wins championships, and they were doing that back in the day when Big Will was here. So he gave them shoes. Shame on all those guys. They hated that. Why is he giving them shoes? All black teams, blah blah blah. So they hated that. So when Big Will tried to get a stadium built, they was all against him, and ridicule him, and everything else, So finally, some I guess he got some fielders from Phoenix, and they said, hey, if they're giving you all those issues in St. Louis, maybe y'all think about coming to Phoenix, because we have, got land here, we can build you a stadium, this and that, So he thought about that, and he said, yeah, that was in his mind, Mr. Big Will, and he went back to, St. Louis, with, hey, they're thinking, they're offering me something out there if y'all don't, try to give me, we're trying to get a stadium here so we can stay, relevant. I mean, sorry, stay in play with the NFL, and NFL owners, they want St. Louis to be able to, improve the stadium too, All right, so, but it just didn't work. Shame on the mayor. He was against Bidwell, and Bidwell kept asking, and after a while, let's remember now, NFL is a right now the monster. You see what I'm saying? So if you're an NFL owner, you got a lot of power. So Big Will did have a lot of power, but they here in St. Louis, though, shame on them. They all underestimated that or didn't think he could go to the big owners, I guess he would say. The ones that St. Louis would we Dallas, I guess, or something. Yeah, he thought he was an idiot. So all in all, Big Will finally said, "Hey, you know what? I'm gonna take this offer to Phoenix, and I'm gonna move out to, Arizona." Okay. So St. Louis said, "Oh, well, fine, go, go, Big Will, bye bye." You know. All right. So he left. Went to Phoenix. They're there now. And all right. So what we gonna do? We need a football team. We want a football team. We used to it here. What we gonna do? Uh, we're gonna try to let's look at the Rams out there in LA. We haven't well, no, sorry about that. We gotta go to this, we gotta go back. After Bidwell and the Cardinals left, we had an opportunity to get another football team, you know, from the start. Okay, the NFL was going to give us a brand new football team. Yeah, sorry about that one. All right, so back to that. All right, so everything's going. We got get the money together, St. Louis, get all your group together. Have everything together. We got a big meeting in Chicago, and you're gonna get the football team. Yeah, we know you lost the Cardinals. You didn't build that stadium. The NFL's talking. You kind of messed up on that. You see what I'm saying? You should have gave Mr. Bidwell the stadium, but you didn't do that. We're gonna give you another opportunity, but we need you to build a stadium and have something really nice for the NFL team. Okay, so all right, so we got this big meeting in Chicago. Let's go to Chi-Town. Excuse me. And we got the name and all that. The St. Louis Stallions. All that shit. We're getting ready to get a brand new team. We're gonna name it the St. Louis Stallions. Everybody in St. Louis is all fired up. We lost the football team, so we really, we're like, wow, who lose an NFL football team? Well, we did, but we can get another. So we're all fired up. Okay. All right. So the meetings there, this meeting was all on the radio, in St. Louis. We were working and listening to it, because it was an afternoon in Chicago. All right. Boom. Here comes the commissioner. Boom. The new NFL teams will be announced in a minute. All right. They announced Carolina. Okay, Carolina Panthers now. They're all called now. They got their team. So we got one more. The St. Louis Rams. I mean, not the St. Louis Rams. I'm sorry. St. Louis will be next. Okay. All right. So boom, 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 and the commissioner's waiting. All right, it's time to make that announcement. Where's the money? Where's the money? Where's the money? St. Louis, Jerry Clinton, one name, was another, some investors. One name I want you to remember is Walter Payton. great running back, the Hall of Famer. Walter was here for a while. He was with the group. He had money. He had some money, but he had like $1 million or so. Excuse me. So he didn't have, he didn't have big money. Big money was Clinton and all the other ones. Okay. All right. So now they in the Chicago. They at the meeting. Here's the commissioners waiting and shit. Where St. Louis? Where y'all? Where's the money? Where we gonna give you 50? He came back. He came to the podium and say, St. Louis, we giving you 15 minutes. You ain't got your money. You ain't got the money right. We gonna give the team, somewhere else. Jacksonville, basically what it turned out to be. Well, St. Louis, I think we knew, Jacksonville was in play. If we lost it, it was going to go to Jacksonville. But, everybody said St. Louis is like, oh, shit, we ain't going to lose the team because, we got our money together and blah, blah, blah. Uh-oh. 15 minutes goes by. Uh-oh. Time for the money. We're in Chicago. The commissioner comes up. He says, the NFL has awarded the new NFL franchise to the Jacksonville City. Jacksonville gets the team. St. Louis didn't have any money. Damn. Everybody in St. Louis was in shock. We didn't have the money. I thought we had it. Bullshitting. I don't know. To this day, everybody, that was listening to the broadcast and everything, and all the stuff that happened with the ownership group and all that, all the money shit that went down the drain. Nobody really knows how it really went down, but it was an embarrassment for the city of St. Louis. A total embarrassment. And the NFL was really angry. Okay, really angry. To this day, I don't think they ever forgave St. Louis for blowing that, for doing that, because it was an embarrassment, and we were totally embarrassed in St. Louis. Yeah. So I think about that now. All right. So, oh damn. So we had to kind of reel back there. Woo. After the day, hey, well, what are we gonna do now? Now we don't have a football day. Well, we had some guys here. They had something on their mind. A lot of, it was a lot of, couple of people. Hey, well, there's a weakness out there in L.A. In other words, the team out there is not getting support. The L.A. Rams not getting support. The owner's not happy. That would be Miss Georgia Fonterra. Yeah, she was the owner. She was from St. Louis too. So she was unhappy. Hey, there's an opportunity. There's a possibility that the Rams could move in St. Louis. We can get the Rams out of L.A. and bring them here. Okay, so the wheels got to turning. And, everything kind of fell together. All right. So, looks like we can ready to basically steal the Rams out of L.A. and bring them to St. Louis. We can get a stadium and all that, All right. All right, so that happened. Okay. They end up getting the Rams to move to St. Louis, building a new stadium, what turned out to be the Dome, the Trans World Dome, as they called it then. Jones or whatever. All right. So we got the stadium. You got the new team. You got one thing though. You got one guy. You got a guy up there in Missouri. Well, we call him Hoosiers sometimes. Yeah. But he was named Kroenke. That's the name. Stan Kroenke. Okay. So he had his plans too. See, what we didn't know, Stan Kroenke had plans of his own. See, he knew he had connections. He got a mountain of money, a billionaire many times over. We all know that, Kroenke. All right, so he knew, hey, the Rams are here now, but I'm gonna get them back out to St. Louis. Out in LA. It's gonna take about 20 years and 20 years. He already knew that he was gonna bring them back. He was gonna get them back to LA. That's all. That shit was all plans, y'all. Okay. Because they knew, hey, you stole. Basically, this fleets will be running out 20 years. You gotta re-up or, something else. So, Kroenke, being, the money man he is, he waited and ended up. Hey, you had it all set up for LA. Okay? Stadium and all that. He had talked to Jerry Jones and all that. Hey, this is what happened. They talked, the NFL owners said, hey, we're going to get him out of St. Louis. Shit. We going this bullshit plan. This guy came out. We had some guy that went up there to the NFL. Hey, this is a new thing we're going to have here right by the riverfront. And this and that. They threw that in the trash. They looking at SoFi Stadium. All right, so Kroenke's got all the money. Hey, well let's remember one little thing, but this is the NFL and this is money. See, money talks. See, and they wanted that. So they wanted them in LA. They had all that shit set up. Stadiums built, all that. Think about LA though. Man, don't y'all know about Stan Kroenke? Let's remember now. Stanley Enos, as in Enos Slaughter Kroenke. Huh. Yeah, it's his middle name is Enos. Named after Enos Slaughter. So you got Kroenke, Stan Kroenke, named after Enos Slaughter, the owner of the LA Rams. If there's one person, and we're gonna talk about Jackie Robinson now, who's like, they like Jesus out there. He's a god there in LA, in California. Well, in the NFL, in Major League Baseball, his number is retired. Nobody will ever wear number 42 again. So that's how important he was. Okay, so here you got Stan Kroenke, Stan Enos Kroenke. He owns the LA Rams. Boys, Enos Slaughter. If there was one person that hated Jackie Robinson more than anybody else in Major League Baseball, it was Enos Slaughter of the St. Louis Cardinals. He hated Jackie Robinson. Now, as the owner of the LA Rams, named after Jackie Robinson, What does he hate Jackie Robinson? No, I'm not saying he hates Jackie Robinson. I mean, so don't you know? I don't want to hear nothing, But you know, Cronky, his middle name is Enos, and he's named after Enos Law. Okay, so but he owns the Rams out there in L.A. Kind of looks like a kind of you know kind of strange, yeah, you know. But they don't care because it was money and all that. We don't worry about the feelings right now. We're just about the money. Okay, so but I had to say that he the owner of the Rams, he's Enos Slaughter, and then Jackie Robinson, and Slaughter hated Robinson. I mean, he tried to kick him in his balls, spike them in a play. You can Google it up. But yeah, so all that being said, he moved the team back to LA, and to this day, they won a Super Bowl and all that. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, so when you look at it all, that was team number 3 that came and went. NFL teams and left St. Louis. There's no other city in the world that's had that happen. Losing 3 NFL teams. And let's remember, we lost 2 NBA teams. So the NBA said we'll never bring another team to St. Louis. And the NFL has said the same thing. You'll never see another NFL team here. And in fact, I think the NFL hates St. Louis. Number 1. You see what I'm saying? The lawsuit, all that. Rocky kind of trashed us a little bit, But he trashed us with the facts as far as, the racial component and all that kind of stuff, Why, the city's dying. Yeah, it is, because, it's like, they said 37% people leaving out. In other words, people leaving St. Louis. People not coming here, they're leaving. I came back for business or whatever. Yeah. But I'm here, taking care of business. All right, so we wanted to go through the 3 NFL teams that came and went to St. Louis, and that's what we wanted the program to be about, because we were talking about yesterday about NBA teams that were here. We had 2 of those, and we did have an ABA team. No, we had ABA and NBA, I'm sorry. Okay, so we had 2 pro basketball teams. But we had 3 NFL football teams. We had the Stallions. We had the St. Louis Stallions. We blew that. Okay, so that's why I made this, video about that. The 3 NFL teams we lost. So let's, as we move on, with the other team here, I don't even talk about that. We have to remember that this city, with racism and stupidity, has lost a lot of stuff. And NFL football teams are just one of them. So we'll be back talking about. I think we want to talk about something else in the NFL, but we want to talk a little bit baseball too. But we'll go with all that when we come back. And this is Real Life Live. Good to see everybody.